Stewart to jump it up, and we are underway. Ionescu. Here's Cloud, one of the best defenders in the league. Ionescu has defended at a level that has really delighted Sandy Brondello to begin this season. Saw her with the assignment on Atkins early. Good contest there, and she got a piece of it.
It's a New York Liberty team that has so much versatility on the defensive end of the floor, can switch 1 through 4.
Here's Sabali, the hero of Game 5 of the finals, on the board first here tonight.
You know, Niara Sabali likes to drive right. Well, that time, very efficient, going to her left side, putting on the brakes and letting the 6'7" shot blocker go by.
That's going to be an offensive foul as Atkins gets whistled for her first.
Niara Sabali playing the center position in place of Jonquil Jones. You see her drive left. Oh, stop! And then just a quick turn and finish. You got to find a way to be tricky when you're going against the bigger shot blocker.
Here's Cloud. Pull-up jumper. Around it off. Rebecca Allen, the rebound. Allen providing a little more shooting in this starting lineup for Chicago. So too does Banham, who can't hit the 3. And Stewart secures the rebound for New York. Here's Cloud dancing into the paint. Ionescu fakes the 3. Her leader is good. Sandy Brondello raved to us about the elite shape that Sabrina Ionescu is in. Said she had by far and away her best camp yet as a pro. And Ionescu affirmed to us before the game, oh yeah, absolutely in the best shape I've ever been in. As Stewart misses the layup, Sabali the finish and the foul, and a big right hook.
To see improvement from her team is rebounding, especially on the offensive end, and that's what Sabali has already brought here.
Sabali completes the 3-point play. A 7-0 start for New York. As we mentioned, they have the best point differential through 8 games in WNBA history. It's a Commissioner's Cup game as well, which New York has started 2-0 in, with the best point differential through those 2 games, a plus 56, as Cloud goes flying into Allen, and Natasha Cloud picks up her first.
That was an impressive head fake by Allen. Completely got Cloud off balance, off her feet as she was charging out to contest.
What do you think about the decision by Tyler Marsh, Chicago, to put Rebecca Allen in the starting lineup?
I think it's a great one. You know, Rebecca Allen not only brings a good offensive threat from the 3-point line, but versatility defensively, length as well.
Here's Reese, nearly threw it away, and it is going to be a turnover as Allen stepped out of bounds. Already 3 turnovers for Chicago, and as you mentioned, that has been an issue for them. They are last in the league in offensive turnover percentage.
And when these teams met earlier this season, Chicago had 24 turnovers. New York able to get 27 points off of them.
Ionescu airmailed that one. Here comes Reese, who we've seen handling it a lot more this season. Tyler Marsh getting Reese to accent the skill set we saw in high school when she was one of the top prospects in the nation. As Williams misses the jumper, Elizabeth Williams in off the bench for Chicago. Oh, nice look. Stewart able to bank it in, plus the foul. What a circus shot from Breanna Stewart. What tough finishes as Stewart gets the roll. And Chicago's going to take a timeout. A 10-0 start for the undefeated Ice Holly. Meanwhile, we caught up with Natasha Cloud before the game. She was glowing about her experience thus far with the Liberty, and I thought I had a really interesting perspective. She knew the Liberty were interested in her last offseason, but Natasha told us, you know, my ego wouldn't allow me to come here last year because I felt like, hey, I need to be a starter. I can't come off the bench. I'm in a completely different place now as far as my comfort goes, my security, and I realize I do my thing. I'm going to be on the floor, and that matters most. Now, of course, she is starting, but she has just loved the environment, the city, and this team.
And we just saw a perfect example of what she can bring on the defensive end of the floor. As a big guard, she switches on to Angel Reese. She holds her position, draws the offensive foul.
First foul on Angel Reese. Here is Cloud. Marching through the lane, gets denied by Williams. Big time block by Elizabeth Williams.
Elizabeth Williams throughout her career.
Here's Clow. Ionescu curling into the paint. Stops on a dime. Can't drop it in. And Reese flies back for the rebound. Her third. Here's Reese. And that's going to be another travel. Another turnover from Chicago. That's already 5 turnovers. And we talked about it. They have turned it over more than any team in the WNBA. Staying true to form early here as New York goes to the bench. Brings in Kennedy Burke, who's off to a great start this season in an expanded role. And when the New York Liberty and Chicago met earlier this year, the Liberty's defense, primarily Brandon Stewart, did an outstanding job bottling up Angel Reese. And then you see there Stewie showing off her versatility on the offensive end as well. In that game, a 99-74 win for New York. They set the WNBA record with 19 made threes, something they've done twice in the early going of this season. It feels like she's been moving so well. Yes. Chicago finally on the board. Nice little hook there from Elizabeth Williams. Here's Burke. Flips it up and off after a nice drive. Here's Banham. Banham around the Reese screen. Banham able to scoop it up and off. Reese the offensive rebound. Out to Allen. Her three won't go. Williams at O-board. Has it wrestled away and taken by Cloud. Great look for Allen. As Chicago has just been struggling mightily to have threes drop for them this season. They're 11th in the league in three-point percentage. And again, Stewart doing her work on the interior. She is the last 7 points for New York, a 14-2 lead for the Liberty. Backdoor cut. Allen can't finish it. Reese, the O-board and the putback. That was an area Sandy Brondello was concerned about, keeping Chicago off the offensive glass. Sky, the best offensive rebounding team in the league. Wow. Cloud left alone, lays it in. Just complete miscommunication and breakdown defensively for the Chicago Sky, and Cloud takes advantage of it. Haley Van Lith getting ready to check in for Chicago as Atkins drops in the jumper. Van Lith figures to play a bigger role after the injury to Courtney Vandersloot. Banham had been backing up Vandersloot. Now Banham starts, and Van Lith backs up Banham. Stewart leaves that one short. Atkins, nice move to shake Ionescu. And as it knocked away, that's a 7th Chicago turnover. Phoebish, pass was off target. Ionescu, catch, fire. No. This is a New York Liberty team that is making threes at a historic rate, has made more threes the first 7 games than any team in WNBA history. Slow start from the perimeter so far in this one. Last time these teams met, they made 19 threes. Atkins runs into Williams and then gets fouled by Cloud, and that will be her 2nd. We know that Angel Reese is one of the best offensive rebounders we've seen in the history of this league. She has a knack for finding the ball off the rim in that last possession. There wasn't much that the New York Liberty even tried to do, and then the defensive breakdown on the other end. Cloud able to get an easy bucket. Van Lith, Kia Nurse, both into the game for Chicago. Cloud checks out after her 2nd foul. Rebecca Gardner in for New York. So too is Maureen Johannes, the electric French guard, as Reese sticks the jumper. Reese told us before the game, she said, I know my shot hasn't been falling. I really trust my work though and feel like it's going to turn soon. Here's Gardner spinning into the lane. Couldn't finish it. Another rebound for Reese, her 5th. Here's Reese. Reese pull-up 3, couldn't get it to go. Nice little push from Chicago here, though. After trailing by as many as 12. Ionescu drops it in, plus the foul. The New York Liberty have done a really nice job getting past their primary defender, forcing Chicago to come over and help. We saw it on that possession by Sabrina Ionescu. Haley Van Lith comes over.
Ooh, is there any contact?
Not a lot there at all. Maybe Allen with a little reach of the left hand, but did not look like much.
Who was the foul?
They gave it to Allen.
Okay.
As Ionescu gives New York its third old school three-point play of the quarter. Liberty yet to hit a three. Rebecca mentioned the historic pace before, averaging 12 made threes per game, which would be a WNBA record. Good position from Williams, just couldn't finish it. Last hit, Johannes going to stay here with Chicago. We mentioned Marie Johannes' name, second unit for the Liberty.
It can be such an explosive offensive weapon off the bench, and when she gets it going as a streaky shooter, holy cow.
Here is Johannes. Stewart, Reese fell down, Stewart cashes in. 9 points for Brianna Stewart, who is a very efficient 4 of 6 from the floor. Here's Van Lith. Into the corner, Reese will try again and knock it down. Angel Reese from 3. Her second of the season after hitting just 3 her entire rookie year.
And normally don't want to come off the strong side corner, but Brianna Stewart understanding that that's not a big part of what Reese does, went ahead and left her.
Johannes will fire. No. Reese, her 6th rebound to go with 7 points in this first. Here's Van Lith. Nice crossover, a little hesitation. Good look out to Atkins. Can't hit the 3 on a beautiful setup from Haley Van Lith. 10-point New York lead. 1:05 to go in the first. Stewart, fingertip catch. Trying to force it up, couldn't get it to go. Here's Kia Nurse running the break. Nurse barges in and finishes. Ionescu's leader drops home.
She's gotten so comfortable with that part of her game.
7 points in the quarter for Sabrina Ionescu, and they've all come like that. We saw that difference last season. She talked about having a healthy offseason going into last year, being able to really work on that after being run off the three-point line more because of the threat she is. And she's continued that inside the arc part of her game to begin this year. Kick ball stays here. 2-for-1 opportunity for Chicago. 9 for Brianna Stewart, 7 from Sabrina Ionescu. Angel Reese leads the way for Chicago with 7 points, 6 rebounds on 3 of 4 shooting. Chicago 0-1 thus far in the Commissioner's Cup. New York 2-0. Van Lith has it knocked away. Reese ends up with it. Nice feed to Cardoso for the finish.
Great recognition by Angel Reese, understanding that shovel pass was the right one to make to give an easy 2 for Cardoso.
First bucket of the game for Camila Cardoso. Here's Ionescu firing and hitting from 3. First 3 of the game for New York. Ionescu with 10 in the quarter. Atkins has it knocked away. Here's Burke with time. Burke, the Euros, and that'll do it for the quarter. A clean strip there.
The latter part of the first quarter, what did you like that you saw on that end?
Yeah, I think Angel was being aggressive, getting downhill. She took an open shot, she knocked it down.
That's Tyler Marsh, head coach of the Chicago Sky. Tyler certainly invested in these NBA Finals as well, with so many good friends and coaches who he worked with the Pacers. Very close relationship with Jenny Busek, who of course was a WNBA mainstay and now has done a wonderful job on the Pacers bench. And Tyler keeps in frequent contact with her. Tyler also talks to Becky Hammon on a daily basis as well. Cloud comes down. She knocked that off of Cardoso. And that's going to be another turnover for Chicago.
Just comes up from the opposite side of the floor, Natasha Cloud does, and has active hands and coming in to help Sabally with that defensive assignment. Great instincts by Cloud there.
Here's Cloud turning the corner. Mashing it out. Here's Johannes. Izzy Harrison into the game for New York. Able to collect it. Cloud's three is good. And now a steal by Gardner on the inbound. 9 turnovers for Chicago. Johannes in and out on a three. She, like Ionescu, has that ability to electrify this crowd because she will fire away from 28 feet plus.
Off and off balance on one leg.
Here's an improvement from her career 31% mark. Hey, taking a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule tomorrow night on CBS Sportsnet. It is LA and Las Vegas at 10 Eastern, Friday on ION, Chicago, Atlanta at 7:30, followed by Dallas, Las Vegas. Saturday on CBS, LA, Minnesota at 1. For more on these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app.
Look how well Atlanta has been playing so far this year.
Yes.
Surprising to some, including me.
Well, because you didn't know how their roster pieces, their offseason was going to fit with the style they wanted to play, but they have really been great out of the gates. Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard playing so well also. Van Lith, after New York's first turnover, gets it out to Atkins. Restarts the quarter on the bench for Chicago. Here's Cardoso, surrounded. Good look to Van Lith. Can't hit the three. Van Lith still seeking her first pro three as Atkins picks up the foul. That'll be the second on Ariel Atkins.
Again, you see Natasha Cloud's value on the defensive end of the floor. She goes in to double team again and help Niara Sabally. The shot goes up after coming out to the three-point line. It's Cloud who gets the defensive board. Her activity and energy is just stellar defensively.
Natasha Cloud, our former colleague.
That's right. Well, for like a series, a
yeah,
finals?
she worked the finals with us a couple years ago in our studio. Did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Here's Cloud firing again. That one in and out. Cardoso able to fingertip the rebound. Here's Van Lith. Van Lith's going to drive it. Curls it inside. Reese squeezes it out. Nurses three. Won't go. Cardoso on the offensive glass. Can't finish. Reese another O-board, and that one is good. Angel Reese now with 9 points and 7 boards.
Does such a great job using her lower body to get position and their strength that time to just rip it away from Harrison.
And Chicago has been able to have some success on the offensive glass in the early going against New York. As Cloud had it deflected, it'll stay here with the Liberty.
Look that time like Chicago is in a zone defense, and you just see it battling. Cardoso battling, and see Angel Reese a little push, gets the position, the strength, goes and gets the ball and finishes.
Really?
Usually veterans who know how to use that little like nudge up top so you can get your defender off balance.
Stewart fading away, had to put it up there, and it'll be a shot clock violation. Angel Reese been very efficient to start this game, something she struggled with to begin the season. The rest of her team, not so much thus far tonight. 4 of 18 for the rest of the Sky. Here's Van Lith. Throws it away. Cloud to steal. Van Lith had an open shot. Here's Cloud. Out to Gardner. Back to Cloud. Plenty of time for New York to operate. Sabally flips it in. Niara Sabally making her first career start at 7 points. Reese throws it away. Van Lith trying to maintain possession for Chicago, but cannot. Instead, will spring New York on the break as Gardner has to be told by her bench to hurry up. Thievish in the corner. Can't hit the three. About 11 Chicago turnovers already. right.
I'll have something better for you the next one.
Clip it for her Emmy reel, Ian. Here's Van Lith. In at the three, out of bounds to New York. We will step aside. More scintillating analysis. Hawks game. And it was just a few weeks before his accident, and was talking to him courtside about the WNBA. And he had long been a supporter of the league, as you well know, having had a good relationship with Kobe. And he was talking to me about how this league was on the precipice. And if you go back and look at the video, you could see his hand actually showing it's about to climb over that mark. It's growing, and it's about to get there. And obviously, Kobe, an eternal supporter of this league, was 100% right.
And a big part of the reason it did get there.
Here's Williams hooking it in with the left hand.
We've seen her do that now from the right side and the left side, using the length that she has to finish inside.
Stewart, wide open, lays it in off a gorgeous feed from Ionescu. How about New York here? 17-point lead, their largest of the game. And they haven't even really gotten going from three yet as Reese pops it in. Plus the foul, big first half from Angel Reese.
And not only not got going from three, they're really struggling from three. 2 for 10 on the afternoon so far. This is a team that leads the WNBA in three-point field goal percentage. Yeah, Angel Reese having probably the best game of her season so far here early. She's close to a double-double already with 11 points, 8 boards, and as you mentioned, very efficient.
Holly?
Well, she's a subject of conversation in the New York Liberty huddle right now. Sandy Brondello making some adjustments of where they're defending Angel Reese because she's going off. But the biggest problem is the rebounding. She actually just challenged her guards on the bench, Natasha Cloud, Leonie Fibish, and Sabrina Ionescu. They've got to do a better job rebounding. Without Jonquel Jones in the game, they are down on the boards right now by 4.
Yeah, it's not just about the big players. You got to get gang rebounding. You got to get your guards in there as well on the defensive end.
Jonquel Jones, New York, hoping to get back Saturday on ABC when the Liberty play the Fever, a game that Indiana is hoping to get back Caitlin Clark for as well. That'll be Saturday afternoon, 3 Eastern on ABC. Here's Stewart. Oh, how about the English? But Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu have been dynamite inside the arc in this first half. They have 25 combined points. They are 11 of 18 combined from the floor as Chicago turns it over. Yes, they have the #1 offensive efficiency by far in the league, but they also have the #1 defensive efficiency by far in the league to begin this season. Been amazing to watch both them and Minnesota get out of the gates this hot. Those two teams, both undefeated after meeting in that epic finals last year, don't meet for the first time since till July 30th, which will be on our air. Ionescu off the deflection, and at the 3. That would have been a first.
If she had made it, would she get an assist to herself?
At least for us.
Yes.
For the scorekeepers at home, I don't know about the official statisticians. Nurse buries the 3. Second 3 of the game for Chicago. They're 10th in the league in made threes per game. It's an emphasis of Tyler Marsh to shoot and make more this year, which Chicago has. Fibish connects from the corner.
Incredible pass by Breanna Stewart as she's cutting down the right side to catch, turn, see the double, and fire it right into Fibish's shooting pocket.
Boy, Stewart is just playing a complete game thus far. Atkins, little runner is good. Nice move there from Ariel Atkins.
And that's what Chicago's going to need more of from Atkins. She has the ability to get to her spots, especially in the mid-range, and drain with efficiency.
Johannes dishes out. Stewart with Reese on her. Williams shades. Burke takes and hits from 3.
Burke has just been on a heater this entire season from three and has such a pretty looking release the way it rainbows through.
17 of 28 from three, and better than 60%. Kick ball, and they're going to say it last hit Chicago. 14 Chicago Sky turnovers now.
Brianna Stewart cutting down the right side. Catch, collect, and fire it. How she even saw that Phoebus was so wide open, but how quickly she delivered the ball.
Right on target. 2 for 1 here for New York. Ionescu plods through the lane and scoops it in. And now the steal. Stewart and Ionescu laughing because Stewart actually had a chance to maybe get up what would have amounted to a 3 for 1. Ionescu, loose handle, able to collect, and throws it away. Now Chicago can hold for 1, but on the break here. Atkins shakes, takes, and hits. Plus the foul. Nice move there from Ariel Atkins. A chance for 3.
This is what we're talking about. Atkins, her ability to get to certain spots on the floor. The lefty comes in, floats, absorbs contact.
Hey, coming up, the WNBA halftime presented by State Farm. New York's continued dominance. Indiana and Atlanta meeting in a Commissioner's Cup game right now. Shot clock turned off. Ionescu stops, dishes, Bird. You bet. Kennedy Berg stays piping hot from 3 as Nurse misses the half-court attempt. And New York.
Liberty took incredible care of the basketball. They only had 3 of their own.
New York this season, 3rd in offensive turnover percentage, 2nd in defensive. Here's Cloud. Thiebish, back to Cloud. Ionescu, good movement here. Thiebish can't hit the 3. Leonie Thiebish was such a critical piece to New York's championship a season ago. When she got inserted into the starting lineup, Liberty really took off. And in the regular season over these past 2 years, New York is 21-2 when Thiebish starts. Foul here against New York. Liberty will actually be without Thiebish after this game for anywhere between 3 to 7 games as she goes to play in Eurobasket for Germany. And depending on how they do, that'll depend on when she comes back to Sandy Brondello's team.
So important to their success, as you just talked about. But the New York Liberty do have depth at that position this year, coming in off the bench, and both Burke and Gardner.
Here's Banham on a 3. Can't get it to drop. And Angel Reese is going to force the foul against the Liberty as her and Natasha Cloud joke on about it.
And the rotation, Natasha Cloud ended up being the one trying to put a body on Angel Reese, and that is a tough assignment when Reese is hitting the offensive glass.
3rd foul on Cloud. Reese already has 9 rebounds tonight. She's had at least 9 in every game this season. Nice handoff from Cardoso to Atkins for the finish. Cloud at 3. Back ironing off. Banham the board. Reese running the floor. Nice delivery from Banham. And Reese finishes. Angel Reese, 13 points, 9 rebounds, and she's 6 of 7 from the floor.
Good job by Reese to have her hand up so Banham could see that she was sprinting the lane.
Here's Thiebish. Got hit on the wrist. Still able to finish. Banham operating the point as a starter after the legend Courtney Vandersloot tore ACL last game for Chicago. As Reese digs in and finishes again. 15 for Reese, and most importantly, just a different level of efficiency than we've seen this season from Reese.
She's done a good job in this game of creating the physicality, that time going into Stewart so she can establish the position and get a good look at the rim.
A season-high 15 points for Angel Reese. Cloud can't hit the 3. Atkins able to catch up with it. Atkins jitters through the lane. Cardoso on the offensive glass. Couldn't finish it, and it squirms out to Cloud, who throws it away. Reese on the steal. And now Ionescu knocks it away. Cardoso ends up with it. Can't finish it. And Sabally the box out. And now Natasha Cloud says, let's slow things down as Phoebish and Reese slam into each other. And the foul is called on, I believe, Angel Reese. And they're going to take a look at it. For now, a common foul on Angel Reese. For them to upgrade it, they would need to see something they feel is unnecessary for it to be upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty one.
The call on the board is a defensive foul against Chicago's number 5, Angel Reese. That is her second team first quarter.
The first look, that just looked like a common foul to me. But we'll see if there was any kind of extension.
Tacked on just an illegal screen, it would be a nothing.
Yes. Perhaps the blind side part of it playing into the decision-making there and a potential for injury. I mean, to me, that still looks like a common foul.
I agree with you.
So Reese picks up the personal, her second. Phoebish extends the lead to 17 at the line. New York retains possession. Stewart finds some space. Phoebish off the deflection. Ionescu in it to 3. Cloud lost her footing, and it's out of bounds into the front row. Hey, catch your favorite stars in action this season. WNBA League Pass is more live games than ever. Scan the QR code to subscribe today for $34.99 a year. It's such an outstanding deal, and it is so wonderful to toggle between games on a nightly basis. Another turnover for Chicago. They're 16th. Stewart just lost the handle there. Here's Atkins. Dumping it down. Reese trying to fight through Cloud. Did a nice job, and it last hit Reese. Reese was looking for a foul and did not get one as Cloud was able to hang tough.
Yeah, that was all basketball.
I think it's basketball,
yeah,
yes.
That was great defense. I mean, it just continues the narrative for Natasha Cloud throughout her career, but also this game tonight, just so how disruptive she's been on that end, especially when she's helping out her bigs.
Cloud firing away. In it to 3. Cardoso, we're going to get Chicago out and running. Allen a good look. And hit. Sabally the board. Chicago now 2 for 13 from 3. New York 5 for 19 as Stewart finishes off the steal and the delivery from Sabrina.
Beautiful pass.
Yeah.
Beautiful pass.
Gorgeous pass and great positioning from Stewart as that follow will go.
Stewart gave her the target to show her where she wanted the basketball, but Sabrina still had to launch it over the long arm of Allen.
Here's Cloud. Crossover. Ionescu. Great look. Stewart finishes. Wow, that chemistry between Ionescu and Stewart has been tip-top tonight. 5 assists now for Ionescu. Great delivery inside, and Cardoso finishes. Banham on the assist, her third. Stewart, a 3, rims out. It's the only part of a game that has not been strong to begin this season. Now 4 for 26 from three-point range. Reese, deep catch, got blocked by Stewart. Here comes Stewart in transition. Has Ionescu in the corner,
WNBA in assists all time. The all-time leader in assists per game at 10 per game and career assists at 6 per game. So, Sloot, if you're watching this game, just know that the whole league is thinking of you and hoping that rehab and recovery on the ACL goes very well.
Amen, Holly. And such a beloved player in this league, as you said, and talking to Tyler Marsh in Chicago. What a possession here. Beavish can't hit the three. Tyler talked about how you could just feel the air go completely out of his team. Sloot means so much to his group, a young team, and Courtney Vandersloot, one of the prominent veterans of this group. To be without her is going to hurt them on the floor next year. And you know, we saw her with her wife, Allie Quigley, in that championship photo from 2021. Shout out to Allie as well, who today announced that she is officially retiring. Had a great article in the Players Tribune saying, hey, I didn't mean to Irish goodbye. She had never formally retired, but one of the all-time great three-point shooters in this league, one of the all-time great sixth women of the league, and a champion as well, officially retiring in Allie Quigley.
And just in general in life, I'm a big fan of the Irish goodbye.
I know you are. Williams can't finish it, and Stewart the rebound. Pass goes by the head of Burke, lands in the lap of Gardner. Ionescu, leaning jumper is good. Sabrina Ionescu has been straight cash inside the arc tonight. She's now 6 for 7 on twos. Reese misses that three. Nurse deflects it. Gardner retrieves it. New York 0-7 from 3 in the quarter. Burke added strip lands with Van Lith. Van Lith, nice get-ahead pass. Reese gets denied by Stewart.
It's one of those times where Brianna Stewart and the 7'1" wingspan come into play. She's running alongside Reese, just goes up, reaches across, fingertip. Has a fingertip block and able to save a layup.
Only Stewart and Asia Wilson have been first-team all-defense each of the past 3 seasons. Van Lith pull-up jumper, that one's off. Izzy Harrison, the weak side rebound. A lot of new faces on this New York Liberty bench. You see Harrison, Rebecca Gardner, Kennedy Burke was on the team. As New York incurs the 8-second violation and turns it over. But an expanded role for Burke. Johannes back. But Sandy Brondello talked about she feels like it's been the right additions, the right changes so that things don't get stagnant. And good fits both in the locker room and on the floor with the way New York retooled its roster around its core.
And New York is playing with the fastest pace in the league, and one of the reasons they're able to do that is because Sandy Brondello can go into her bench, keep bodies fresh, try to continue to push the ball against whoever they're playing.
Right, and remember, we're watching this tonight without Jonquel Jones, who has been off to a terrific start, only player in the league averaging at least 10 points and 10 rebounds. Have you had the popcorn here at Barclays? It is fantastic. It's legendary. Steph Curry is a huge popcorn connoisseur. He's a massive fan of the Barclays Center popcorn.
I know, like, she's not in uniform and she's on the injured list. I didn't know you were, like, allowed to sit there and snack during a game. Yeah?
She's hungry.
She gets probably wait service.
Ionescu sliding in and drops it home. Sabrina Ionescu up to 18 points. Now 7 of 8 inside the arc. Here's Van Lith. Goes baseline. Westbeld, another rookie. Fading away. Can't hit. Harrison the rebound. Again, pushing pace for New York.
That was a really good defensive possession by Gardner.
Ionescu connects on a deep three. Ionescu has the last 7 for New York. And 21 in the game. Van Lith Sneaks a pass over to Westbeld. 3 to shoot. 2 to shoot. Westbeld had to force it up. Here comes Ionescu.
She didn't get it, but a really nice rim run by Izzy Harrison.
Burke again. Kennedy Burke can't miss in 2025.
The way she shoots is like throwing darts. You know, like just the angle on it, and it touches nothing but the net. Not that there's a net in darts, but you know what I mean.
We've played darts before.
Have.
Van Lith can't finish it. Shot clock turned off. And Ionescu signals to Johannes, hold for 1. An 11-0 New York run at the end of the quarter here. Ionescu draws 2, finds Burke. Gardner didn't get it off in time, will not count. And that'll do it for the third. Liberty missing her 5th straight game tonight. On ESPN3 right now. Fever trailing Atlanta in the 4th quarter. If Atlanta hangs on, Indiana would drop to 2-3 on ABC Saturday between New York and Indiana, with big-time implications, with New York poised to move to 3-0 in the Commissioner's Cup here tonight, and Indiana went into tonight's game 2-0. What a delivery again, Ionescu, this time finding Burke. That's 7 assists for Sabrina.
And you mentioned, you know, the New York Liberty aren't scheduled to play the Minnesota Lynx until July 30th. Well, of course, they could potentially meet in the Commissioner's Cup championship game.
How about this for Minnesota as well? You know, not only are they off to this incredible start, they have Chicago's pick in the upcoming draft. I mean, they could, in theory, win a championship and then have the first pick in the draft. Harrison can hit the jumper. Chicago last year had moved up 1 spot and Minnesota acquired a pick swap from Chicago for this year, for Chicago to move up and draft Angel Reese. Then this year, Chicago traded into the 1st round again with Minnesota's pick, and it just became, rather than a swap, just Chicago's pick that Minnesota now owns. Ionescu gets fouled and will go to the line to shoot 2. But just incredible to think about Minnesota, as good as they are, having that potential lottery pick sitting there. They both have gotten off to brilliant starts.
They're in a tier above every other team in the WNBA right now. And you get a chance to look at their schedule and when they're going to meet this season, especially, you know, when you get to August, and it's almost going to be like a mini playoff series when they play one another. Now, yes, New York has had the 13th toughest strength of schedule to date, and Minnesota has had the 12th toughest strength of schedule. But when you watch them play, they are clearly the 2 best teams in a tier above everyone else in the league.
Burke off the steal. Burke able to pizza pie it in with the left hand. Timeout, Chicago. An extended 17-0. Such a scintillating French Open victory. 4th quarter action here at Barclays, and a 34-point Liberty lead. And Holly is ready with Coco.
Well, that ovation that you just got here, everyone on their feet, what does that feel like to just be the pride of the United States right now?
That was insane. I wasn't expecting everyone to stand up, and it just feels so cool to come back to such a warm reception. And this is my first W game, so I'm really excited that I get to be here and to support the Liberty.
I know you've supported them down at Unrivaled, Dearica Hamby and her daughter.
Yes.
Tell me, how did you get involved with the W?
Yeah, well, first I love basketball. I would say that would be my 2nd or 3rd choice. I played a little bit when I was younger. It was not good, which is why I played tennis. So I've always followed, and then when an arrival came around, and I'm from South Florida, it was happening in Miami, so I got a chance to help and invest in that. And then just to be here, we don't have a South Florida team, and I'm traveling all the time, so I've been wanting to go to a W game for so long, and so to be here and a full packed house at Barclays is really cool.
Okay, well, that literally made me almost choke up to see them love on you like that. Something so cool from your French Open win. I saw the piece of paper where you had written and manifested, I will win the French Open over and over again. What can you say to young people out there about the importance of manifesting your dreams?
You have to really believe it and write it down. And I think even when you don't believe it, when you write something down, it kind of feels like it's permanent. And so for me, it felt like
On the call games here.
It is so festive and so welcoming. And it's just a remarkable atmosphere every single game. 6:30 to go in the fourth. Chicago on a little 7-0 run.
Chicago coming out in a zone after Sandy Brondello calls the timeout.
She has to be number one. As Johannes hits the three on the world power rankings of mascots, right?
World power?
Yeah, the
rankings?
world, yeah.
Universe?
Yeah.
I'd go the whole stratosphere, Ryan.
I think about that sometimes. You know, there's some brilliant people in the Liberty organization who conjured up Ellie, and my gosh, they could not have nailed it more. Think about, we're going to come up with a mascot and we're going to turn them into this transcendent figure. Unbelievable.
And the person,
mascot,
then the person who's
yeah.
if it's a person, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's just Ellie.
Right.
Yeah.
For any of the young kids out there watching. Yeah, Ellie's just incredible.
Harrison can't finish. Angel Reese with 17 points, 11 rebounds. She has been a bright spot for Chicago tonight. A season high in scoring. Her 30th career double-double. She is just the fourth player to have at least 30 double-doubles before turning 24. As Gardner misses the three. The company that Angel is with is incredible. Tina Charles, Candace Parker, Brianna Stewart are the only other players to reach 30 career double-doubles before turning 24. And then you see the fewest games to 30 career double-doubles. And Angel now has that record with some room to spare.
Yeah.
And tonight we've seen a dramatic increase in efficiency on the offensive end for Reese, who is 8 for 13 from the floor.
And that's the next step for her, right? Is to consistently bring that efficiency on the offensive end.
Yes. Atkins able to finish plus the foul. Holly?
You know, we had a great conversation pregame with Angel, and she was talking about, you know, they're losing right now, and this is unusual for her. A player that won a national championship in college is used to winning, and she and Camila Cardoso, Camila went 35-0 her last year of college, so they're not used to losing, and they talked to some veterans about how to deal with it, how to still be good, and she said the most important thing is do not get comfortable with losing. They know this is going to be a grind this year. Their roster is evolving, but they cannot get comfortable with losing.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting from Angel. And even though she has the perspective and has sought out the veterans and had them tell stories of their worst seasons in the league and then how their franchise has climbed out of that, she was very insistent upon, but don't be okay with this.
Very mature perspective as we were talking to her today.
4 minutes to go in the fourth. New York, a 23-point lead. Sherrod bounces underneath. Gardner reverses it in. You know, one other thing that's happened, Rebecca, as a result of New York's depth this season, as well as the leads they've built, is they've been able to keep their players' minutes down big time. As Banham splashes in a three. Brianna Stewart right now averaging a career low under 29 minutes per game. Jonquil Jones was under 25. Sabrina Ionescu under 30. Johannes can't hit the three. Sherrod flies in, and it's out of bounds to New York. 3:12 to go in this fourth. Hey, coming up on Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt, Breanna Stewart will join SDP after the game. Sherrod's three. Stewart got a hand on it. No, New York having this performance today, Rebecca, even though they're 8 for 29 from three, just 27%.
And that's been one of their superpowers this year is when they've had those games, 2 games already this season where they've made 19 threes. And when you have the ability to shoot like that relatively consistently, you know, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat this team.
Stewart knocks it away. Phantom able to flag it down. Chicago already with 21 turnovers tonight, had 15 of them in the first half. Phantom rims out on a deep three. Stewart flags it down. Her 7th rebound. Finds Burke, who lays it in. Kennedy Burke with 15 points.
Now, especially with the Phoenix to Atlanta back-to-back, you know, with a day in between, though, of travel. I mean, that's not an easy stretch. But we have talked about how favorable their schedule has been up to this point.
It is interesting, though. You think about what Minnesota and New York are now, because Minnesota and New York don't meet till later in the season, as we've documented their first regular season game scheduled for July 30. You think they're going to lose a game before then, but those two teams eventually met in the finals in 2016 and after 5-game series LA won, with Minnesota returning serve then in 2017. And feels like there's that kind of thing brewing with New York and Minnesota. As Sherrod goes down, obviously a tough time for them. Already a young team. They lose Courtney Vandersloot, who they really have needed to organize them on the floor. They're going to drop to 2-6 here. Their 2 wins against Dallas, who has really struggled this season. You know, they don't have difficult times with a young team.
What tough first-year circumstances for Tyler Marsh, because this is a team that is just having so much difficulty taking care of the basketball, and then they lose Courtney Vandersloot. When we saw that shot of Angel Reese sitting next to her as Mariah Jefferson, who would be the normal backup point guard if she was healthy. They're still waiting for her. She's week to week on when she can return. A team that added free agents in the offseason that was supposed to help them be able to open up the floor and make shots from the perimeter, and that has not panned out yet. So a team that's just struggling at all levels right now on both ends.
Sherrod comes up with a steal and will have a jump with 1:21 to go in the nice save. Here's Banham out to Van Lith, and that is the first 3 in the WNBA career of Haley Van Lith.
Have we run out of time now for the big picture question?
My big picture question, as this score matters to some people out there, my big picture question.
Games now without Caitlin Clark, and I am really curious about Vegas because they still have the pieces that you just mentioned, wondering when they're going to be able to put it together.
Westbell drops in the jumper. Maddie Westbell, the 16th pick this past year's draft after a terrific career at Notre Dame.
Can I ask you a big quick picture question?
With 27 seconds left, let's go.
I don't really have one.
Okay. Sherrod can't hit the jumper. Here's Van Lith. Van Lith will dribble it out. The New York